Hey, so I just looked shocked there for a second. I just want to record a quick little. This may not be quick. It may be long. I don't know yet. Um, the little vlog as myself, not as Kara, not as some other, um, as me, or at least the me that I want to present. The the idealized version of me, I guess, in a sense. Um, Not that I want to be like an anime person, but I've been trying to, as part of my gender exploration and journey, I've been trying to make this avatar as much like me as possible, or at least include some of the markers that make me feel like me when I see myself. For example, um, you can see here on my face a couple of dots that are bigger than like the freckles that are all over the place. Those are supposed to mirror the moles that I have on my face. And I wish I had a better face dragger. I just might look shocked every so often like that. But yeah, I've got those two and a couple kind of down here, like that to me, because I always see those every time I look in the mirror. I always notice, yep, I've got a bunch of moles on my face. And even though they don't look quite like this, because I'm not a very good artist, this is like cartoony version of them. This scar in my hand, that came from when I had a car accident when I was 17. And they had to put screws in my hand, and ever since then, I've that's what I see when I look at the back of my hand, is this scar, and so I know the scar like well, the back of my anyway. Also, I put on my birthmark. Sorry, I'm not trying to flip you off. I put a birthmark here. This is on me. And this is on me. I'm wearing one of my favorite shirts. The camera won't let me show you the whole thing, but it's a shirt about a wizard turning you into a whale. But I put that logo on a shirt that felt more feminine, because this just feels better to wear something that looks like, I could have just put this on like a t-shirt in the program I used to make this, but I wanted the shirt to look a little less. I want it to look femme. I'm just gonna. I keeps doing the surprise thing. It'll be fine. I'll just deal with it. Even though it's got these weird straps that have like black under them, I think that's supposed to be like a shadow, but it just kind of looks weird. But whatever. I'll tweak it later. But here's what I wanted to actually talk about, which was so since this whole thing has started, I've started actually. Yeah, I wanted the surprise on that one. Actually researching what trans people go through, because growing up at the time I did, and when more information wasn't available, and just both the time period in which I grew up, and like the religion I was a part of, and all of those things contributed to a very limited understanding of trans people and who they are, what they go through, that kind of thing. Like when I was little, the only thing I knew about trans people were like either like drag queens, shocking, drag queens, or like Rocky Horror Picture Show, like those kind of like sexy fishnet, huge eye makeup, like flamboyant, like no, you didn't. I can't make these hands snap, and probably the snapping sounds weird through the microphone. There was snapping there. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But like sassiness and and none of that stuff felt like appealing to me. So like, when you think of trans people and that's what you think of, and that's not appealing, then obviously you're gonna be like, well, I'm clearly not trans, because none of that is appealing. And just to be clear, it's fine if you like that kind of stuff. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. It was just like on a visceral level, I'm like, that I don't want to be that, So whatever. Any case, and also the church I grew up in, obviously, probably a lot of you watching this share that religious upbringing, specifically LDS, Mormon. Um, Gender roles are so important in that church. You know, men get the priesthood, women are in the kitchen. Uh, you know, the whole family proclamation thing about how gender was preordained, and the one that you're assigned at birth is the one that God wants you to have because that's how you were in the premortal life and all that stuff. And so, you know, when trans people were mentioned, it was always like in a list of people that were basically perverting the ways of God. You know, the homosexuals and the trans people and the murderers and the adulterers, and you know, it was all part of that umbrella of just don't do these things because that's not the plan that God has. And so growing up in that and believing in that, obviously, like, being trans never really entered my thoughts as like, oh, maybe I'm trans, because that was, not only was it a sin, but the few trans examples I had growing up sheltered in Utah were things like drag queens or like or gay people. Sorry, maybe I should turn off the surprise so I stop being shocked on gay people. Shocking. No, see, that time I didn't do it. And my dad was gay, and he also, I'm not going to get into that personal story, but it left me with a taste in my mouth of, oh boy, this is bad. I should never be this kind of thing. And I'm not gay, like it's weird being trans because gender identity and sexual orientation are two different things, and once you start bringing trans identities into things, gay or straight doesn't really like make sense in this discussion. So you have to be like attracted to men or attracted to women. There are terms for that. It's like gynosexual, and I don't know what the one for man is because I had to look it up. Anyway, I'm attracted to women. Women are cute. It's thumbs up for ladies. Thumbs sideways because I can't do thumbs up. The hand tracker won't let me. Yeah. Anyway, but it's where was I? I don't even remember what I was saying. I'm attracted to ladies. Oh, that's right. So being trans is being gay, but at the time it was like, because it's all part of that alphabet, the LGBTQIA, whatever, the XYZ. The first three of those are sexual orientations. The L, the G, and the B are all sexual orientations. And then they put the T on the end, and so you kind of lump them together, right? These are all the queer identities. And since I wasn't lesbian, or I wasn't gay, not even bi, I think guys are gross, like sexually, like no desire there at all. And so when you lump those together, you don't think you're part of it. And I also didn't understand quite what dysphoria was, and that's the other thing I want to talk about, because I've been researching that recently. I didn't actually know, this. Sorry. I have some room sound playing in the background, so it sounds kind of natural, but I think it's a little distracting. I'm just gonna mute it. So now it's just me talking, and it probably sounds a little more fake, but that's okay, because now you don't have that room sound. Anyway. Maybe, oh. Hold on, I'm gonna cut this out. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Got put on some different ambiance. It's of like a city park. It's the one that I used in the flower field when I was doing care stuff. I don't really want to be in that flower field. I feel like that location was more for them, not for me. Anyway, so I didn't know what dysphoria was. it like I assumed that it was something that I hadn't ever felt because I'd never really looked it up, and it was like I thought it would be like, oh man, if only I was a woman, then my life would be better. You know, like, oh, if only I looked like a lady, then all of my problems would somehow fix themselves, and clearly that's what dysphoria is, or what I thought it was. And so I never really looked into it. But here's the thing. I've been looking into it now. It's not that. It's not like, I mean, at least not on the overt level of like, oh man, why can't I use the other bathroom? Maybe there's some of that in there. Like it's different for people. But let me pull up a thing, and I just put this ambience on, and now it's going to disappear. Here, maybe I'll edit back here. 1 second. All right, now we've got the ambience back, just so you don't have to hear my voice dry. Speaking of dry voice, as my avatar looks like and sounds like when I drink some water. Where were we? Okay, so this is a website, Zimia Jones, Medium, that whatever. Depersonalization and gender dysphoria, widespread and widely unrecognized. This is written 2018, so it's a little old, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. But I started reading this list that this person listed in this article, and these are some symptoms of dysphoria, apparently. All right, so let's start here. A sense of detachment or estrangement from your own thoughts, feelings, or body. I know I have feelings, but I don't feel them. Yes, I have felt this a lot. It feels like, especially recently, and for a lot of these, like, I felt like these for as long as I can remember. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, did I always feel this way? Has this always been how I've looked at the world? Or is it just been for so long that I can't remember not feeling this way? And some of that might be true, but there's a lot of these that are from my past that I wrote down at the time. So we're going to read some of these. Feeling split into two parts, with one going through the motions of participating in the world and one observing quietly. There is this body that walks around and somebody else just watches. I have felt this a lot, especially recently. Like especially when I'm with other people, it's the strong feeling of like, okay, so when you're in the situation, you need to react this way, and so then you do, but it's not like you doing it. It's more just like, oh, well, my body, my voice, my brain is reacting this way. That's interesting. Isn't that a fascinating thing to watch? And at some level, obviously, it's you doing them, but it doesn't feel like it's you doing them. It feels like it's just your body is responding in the way, and your voice is responding the way that it should, but it's not really you. It's hard to describe. Let's continue on here. Feelings if you have an unreal or absent self. I have no self. That one I felt a little less, but I can still get behind it somewhat. Experiencing the world as a distant, dreamlike, foggy, lifeless ghost, artificial, like a picture with no depth, less than real. That one I've also experienced a little less, like distant, dreamlike, yeah, sometimes, or where you don't really feel connected with what's going on around you, but at the same time, colorless, not so much. I like colors. I'm not colorblind. I don't know. Being absorbed. Here's the big one. Being absorbed in yourself and experiencing a compulsive self-scrutiny or extreme rumination. Yes, 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 yes. So much. You guys, I have a blog. I've mentioned it before. You might be watching this on it. It's 20 years of this. And even before I had that blog, like older journal entries and stuff. I'm always trying to figure out what's my deal, you know? That's like, eh, it's what I do in my spare time. I play video games and I try to figure out what my deal is. Um, so this is more me than it is. Having the ongoing coherent dialogue with yourself. Also, yes, I talk to myself all the time. The whole care thing, which was earlier part of this experiment and now is not. But they were bored out of me basically talking with myself and creating a persona that kind of was the other half of that. It's not quite like an imaginary friend as much as it is part of me talking to another part of me, and I think everyone does this, but like ongoing, coherent character developments, always talking to myself, even if it's like just up here. It's so there's that. Um, like a veil or glass wall separates you from the world. I have felt that. That one's a little less, but sometimes when you just going through the motions, there's that one. Emotional or physical numbness, such as having a head filled with cotton. I think now that I'm thinking about this, I've got like some blog posts from way back around like at BYU where I talked about having a fuzzy mind. Um, like where and it's there, maybe I'll link to it. There's a blog post from forever ago I remember where it's literally like an argument with myself, and I think it's called Fuzzy Mind. Um, an ongoing coherent dialogue with myself where I'm just yelling at my own brain. And I guess I posted it online for some reason. I think I called myself Arnold Rimmer at one point. Anyway, I'll link to it if you want to see that bit of dirty laundry. Lacking a sense of agency or spontaneity, feeling flat, robotic, dead, or like a zombie if merely going through potions. This also, I felt for a while. I thought maybe it was autistic burnout or something, but no, it's not. Well, I mean, maybe it's partly, but this, like when I got my music stuff stolen, I thought it was maybe had to do with that. Or even before then, like when I was getting my degree in college, it was more just like, I guess I got to do all this stuff so that, and it should have been a subject in which I was like super into, and it was kind of, but it also had that kind of like it described earlier, kind of separation, where it's like I should be excited about this. Everything about this says I should be excited about this, but I'm not like feeling it at my core. It's more just like, yeah, sure, why not? Um, yeah, sure, why not is a lot of how I've been approaching life. Being able to think clearly, yes, but feeling some essential qualities lacking for your thoughts or experience from the world. Yeah, I just kind of described that sense of disconnectedness from life, impeding you from creative and open involvement in the world. Also, yes, this is one reason my music career stalled out, is because I just never, like, creatively, it was hard to get in that zone. Um, Especially when I didn't have a reason to write. Um, anyway, they go on saying that these are clinical descriptions of depersonalization, and they're dissociative symptoms, but there are other symptoms that dissociated people have that I don't. Um, but they go on, and it's saying they also can occur in the context of untreated gender dysphoria. And this is where I was like, you can't see my face during it here. This is where I was like, untreated gender dysphoria feels like literally everything in that list that I've been feeling. Maybe gender dysphoria isn't, boy, I wish I was a drag queen. Maybe gender dysphoria is something that doesn't even feel like it's connected to gender until you figure out that it is, until you take steps to experiment and be like, well, if I present it differently, then I might feel differently. Wizard's turning you into a whale shirt, but it's a feminine shirt with a feminine face. It's my face. It's got my frickin' moles on it. It's got my moles on it. My hand is my scar. My birthmark. There it is. Here's the crazy thing. I'm not going to go through this entire article, but I have felt since I started exploring these, and especially since that moment when I was doing that Hollow Knight stream and somebody called me Miss, and it just, everything just like fell into place. And especially since I got Kara out of the picture because she was messing up this journey. But doing this as me, like I have most of these symptoms that we've described. A lot of them I just don't have anymore, and the ones that I still do have been greatly reduced. And I think part of that is still because even though I can present here as female, I still have a male voice, still have a male body, still have all of that. And it's so funny, because in my first post about this, everything was maybe I could be gender flux, maybe I'm, agender, like these, they're all like maybes. But then I got called Miss once, and I was like, oh, that's not a maybe. That's a yes. That's a yes. And a lot of those symptoms of things that I didn't even think were connected to gender at all, I guess they were. Surprise! You're trans! Surprise! Happy birthday! Oh, hold on, I was holding up my hands. Surprise! You're trans! You didn't even know! And you didn't even know that was, like, on the radar. And everything suddenly becomes better. Just, like, suddenly you feel connected with the things that you're saying. Suddenly you feel, and it's not 100% yet because of the things I just said, but just even in this persona, like when I go back and listen to this with my voice changer on, like I feel it less now when I'm recording because it's my male voice, but when I go back and listen to it with the voice changer on, I'm like, oh, that's me. That's the core of me recording this and posting this vlog. And you listening to it right now, you're listening to me for maybe the first time, or at least what feels like me for the first time. It's crazy. And there's, I'm not going to make this too much long because it's already over 20 minutes, but basically the rest of the article is about how dysphoria feels less like, oh, I want to be a woman, and more like, oh, I want to be myself. And something is blocking that, and I don't know what it is. And then, like, everything is kind of dead, and maybe it's related, similar symptoms like depression, but, yeah, feeling just going through the motion of everyday life as if you're reading from a script. Mm-hmm. Everything else seems like it was somehow less real than it ought to be. Mm-hmm. These are things that when I read them, I'm like, oh, that is how I felt, even though maybe at the time I didn't have the words for it. I can move around the real world, interact with it, but never actually touch it or feel it. For me, these symptoms were something I only discern as being separable from myself once they vanished upon starting HRT. I haven't started HRT. It's barely been a week since I don't even know if it's technically been a week since, it's been more than a week since I started this journey, but it hasn't been a week since I was like, oh, I'm just straight up trans. Here's the interesting thing, also. Sorry, ADHD brain. The other interesting thing is that, in that first post, going in, even in later posts, I'm like, well, I still might be gender fluid because, sometimes you feel like a guy, sometimes you feel like a girl. But now that it's been a few days since I was first called Miss and all of that came into place, I don't think I've felt masculine again. At least in the sense of like, oh, my core being is masculine today. Like a gender fluid person, like, Some days they're more masculine, some days they're more feminine. I haven't, and maybe it will still happen. I mean, it's only been a few days, but the entire time I have felt feminine or femme or whatever the term you want to use. Sorry, I had to scratch my eye through my glasses apparently. I felt feminine at my core. Now that I recognize what that is and why I feel this way, like I haven't been like I wake up and I'm like, oh, today's a male day and tomorrow might be a female day. It's I wake up and I'm like, I'm so excited to sit at my computer and turn on my avatar and record myself doing something and then listen to it. I'm so excited to stream some dumb game and have people show up and listen to my voice. Even if they don't care about what I'm playing, the fact that people are just listening to my voice is like I look forward to that more than anything else. Like there have been, I don't think I've played any like video games other than the ones I've streamed since I've been doing this. And I usually like when I'm at home I just like sit at home and play games or whatever, and they're fun and they're fine and whatever. Like gaming is fun. I'll probably always still be a gamer, but like I'm more excited to work on this because I want this journey has brought me so much, which is, I mean, I still like have to go to work and whatever, but I have not felt masculine since this whole thing started, which is kind of crazy. Oh, I just realized I've had Firefox up this whole time. I was looking at my thing in the corner on this one screen, and then the recording screen. It's like, oh, Firefox is still happening. But yeah, so if it continues like this, and maybe like there might be some day next week or something where I wake up and I'll be like, no, I'm a man at heart, so I guess I'm gender fluid. I don't think I'm gender fluid, guys. I think I'm just straight up trans femme. Like, that's me. That's like, I guess that's true. And so, you know, and then I read these stories, and not just this article. I was looking on Reddit earlier today and some other places about how HRT, which for the uninitiated is basically taking hormone replacement therapy. Like, so for me it would be like taking estrogen, so that I felt more like my body started doing more feminine things. I still want to let this sit until I start like making plans for that. It might be in the future. At this point, I feel like it will be, but it's still, I'm not rushing into this still because it's only been like a week. So I might give it like a month or two. We'll see how long I can last before I'm like, no, I just want to do this, and I also have to investigate even what the options are because I do not know what the options are. I'm gonna go back to the office. Hold on. There we go. Did that reset the ambience? No, it didn't. Okay. But yeah. So HRT might be in the future. I want to read more of these testimonials because the rest of the article is basically just testimonials. For example, you know, I guess I'll go back to Firefox after all. Okay, so like some of these complete lack of motivation, very discouraged and bleak, can't care about anything, can't summon the willpower to be a person to people, feeling sort of like a wall that provides yes or no answers, nothing seeming forward, feeling of disconnect from myself, as if my mind and body are two separate entities. My day-to-day goals hold no weight in my decision-making. Nearly all the time I feel generally apathetic to things. My external reactions are more of a formality than what I actually feel about something. A faint feeling that I'm acting like a person as if it's a social requirement. Yeah, that's dysphoria. That's what I've been feeling. this numb feeling where I'd go through my days casually like some unconcerned outsider, and on those days it felt more like a sequence of scenes in a movie than something that was an experience of my own. My friends, my family, strangers at the subway, all of them just soulless husks. Yes. I thought for a while, and I can't remember this before or after my autism diagnosis, but I thought for a while I was a sociopath. Not because I didn't care about people, but because I wanted to care about people, but everything just felt so disconnected from my core being, and I was like, I guess I don't care about people. That's not great. I don't think I'm a sociopath, just for the record, because I do care about people, and I do feel empathy, but because of this, it didn't feel that way for a long time. Emotions feel completely artificial at times. Even when provoked, my actions are always calculated, and it feels like a performance when I get mad or act on emotion. I always get mad in a rational way. I don't know if I can necessarily, I get mad at irrational things. Sometimes I just get mad. Just there are days where I'm like, oh, today's a mad day. Well, I gotta deal with this. Not that I go around screaming and hitting things, but just like a base level of grump, I guess. Hypercritical monologue that runs alongside my life. Yes, so much that. Oops, I got stuck at happy. There we go. Yes. Sometimes it takes that, and that gets part of this less too, like that, the hypercritical voice just telling you, that anxiety voice telling you that, Anyway, I don't want to come up with examples. I just don't feel like it. I don't think I've cried, like really cried, in a long time without having some piece of media, film or song mainly, it's extremely relatable to something I feel I should be crying about. And even then, I feel like I'm fighting my brain to continue as it tries to pull me away and shut it down. Yeah. I almost cry at nothing. Very, very few things that I cry about. When I got called Miss, I almost started crying. I didn't actually cry, but it was the closest I've been in quite some time. Usually when I cry, it feels self-indulgent, because I cry about something that's related to me, like I feel so bad today because I don't feel like things are right. I'm not like crying at a movie or at somebody's sad story or funerals. It's just was detachment, disconnect. I make jokes. My brain makes jokes as a coping mechanism, and so even at like places where I'm supposed to feel sad or grief, I'm just like, well, da 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 da. Okay, this is a story I have not shared, because I thought it made me a terrible person, but now I realize if it's this, maybe I'm not a terrible person. I had a nephew die that was like a week old, like 14 years ago. And obviously it was sad. And I just felt nothing about it. And it was partly because I was really ill at the time, like I was on some Dayquil or something. But I was just like, yeah, okay. I mean, I do that I should have been feeling sad. But it wasn't there. I wanted to feel sad and I wanted to feel bad, but I mostly just felt like, yeah, okay, what's for dinner? Apparently, that's related to gender dysphoria. What? 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 What's? I have no idea how that's going to make it through the voice changer, but what? I wasn't sad that my nephew died because I'm the wrong gender? Like, that would not, that barely makes sense in my mind now. It's crazy. Sorry, I keep dealing with the voice, the faces. It's crazy to think that those two things are related. But then I read stuff like this stuff over here. Wait, but like the stuff on the screen, I can't even point at it. And it's. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? So when I was younger, especially noticed this in high school, I had this experience of this body moves around, somebody else watches, and feeling things, but also not feeling them at the same time. I have, when I did, my friend Nate Winter wrote a musical about Marco Polo called Travels. I did the orchestration for him. And then afterwards, I wrote kind of a memoir on the subject. And I noted many times in that memoir that my reaction to this great thing that I should have accomplished, this wonderful accomplishment I should feel proud about. I should feel like, I did a good thing. Like, congratulations, you are legitimate. You've done a great thing, and everything is wonderful. Or I should have felt like, oh, it's regret that it's ending. Or like I should have felt something, but I just didn't feel anything. It was just like I was going through the motion. I had to conduct the pit orchestra. I had to make sure everything was whatever. And some of that might have been trauma for both my teenage years, and also it was just really hard. But that feeling of disconnected, being burned out from music, never went away, ever. Up until this day, I still did music. I got a music degree, but it was always more like, I should want this, and it was never, I want this. Surprise! It was related to gender! What? 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 Surprise! You see how crazy this is? You see how much I thought dysphoria was I want to be a drag queen, and it was I burned out on writing music. Like it's crazy. And I'm still kind of in preliminary research, but the more that I've read, and the more of these testimonials I read, and the more I look into what dysphoria feels like, and it's also partly, there's also a more actually gender-related aspect to it, too. It's not all just dissociativeness. And being dissociated isn't necessarily a gender thing. My hand keeps, this keeps moving back. His hand tracker, I swear I need it. Anyway, come on, like, it keeps making me want to look like I'm stretching out my arm. I am now, but I wasn't earlier, but it keeps making me look like I am. Like, my elbow locks in place real easy. Whatever, that's not important. And that said, I was a dispassionate observer of my own life. The person who went through the motions wasn't the observer, me. Whenever the acting me felt any emotions, the observer me recognized the emotions but didn't feel them herself. Furthermore, the observer me had complete control over the acting me in the sense the observer me could deliberately detach any part of the mind so that neither of the selves could access it. All these symptoms disappeared very rapidly after the start of HRT. I want that so bad. Guys, I want that so bad. Because even after I've felt more attached to reality, there's still some of this still left. I've been more attached to reality than I've felt in years. But there's still some of this. And people are starting about, like, starting HRT and how it just suddenly... Well, let me read it. About 1 month in, I started to sense I was more present in the present than before, and the reality appeared more substantial and vividly colored. It was like actually standing at some spot instead of watching a black and white TV broadcast of the situation. My compartmentalized mind merged into one During one unforgettable moment about 5 weeks in age 13, I gained full access to all my emotions. What the heck? Guys. What the heck? This is a thing. This is a thing I didn't even know I needed, and here it is, and it's gender related? Do you see now, and I'm probably transphobes aren't even watching this, but do you see now how this isn't about guys wanting to use, or girls wanting to use different bathrooms, or do good in sports, and cheat in sports? Do you see now how it's not about drag queens wanting to strut their sexy stuff down the catwalks, or like pride parades with the people in letter fetish gears whipping each other? Like, those are the stereotypes. Those are the ones that I grew up with. Those are the ones that I you know, and as time's gone on, a lot of those stereotypes I've learned more and become a better, what I thought was ally. And for those of you allies out there, you're great. Keep on keeping on. But anyway, I'm not gonna keep reading these because there's so many. You just go to the website if you can read it up there. Go to that website. But so many testimonials. And then they transition, and suddenly, yeah, the cliche. This is the one, and I've got my swear filter on because I think it's hilarious. So it doesn't actually say gadzooks, but the cliche is that you're a woman trapped in a man's body. But it's not that simple. It's a feeling of detachment from your body and from yourself. And it sucks. Yeah. That's it. That's it. That's it, people. A feeling of detachment, not because you're a woman trapped in a man's body, but because you're detached from your body. Everything is just, wrong. And then here we are. Sorry, let's go back to the office there. I could go on. But this is already long enough. This is like 45 minutes of me reading testimonials. However long this is going to end up being, I might cut some of it out. But the point is this. I'm not making this decision. This isn't a decision I've made. I am not doing this for some weird, sexual reason. Or even, this isn't something I've always thought of, maybe not. This is, I've lived 40 years of my life there, through my age in there. 40 years of my life believing that I was a cisgender man, but all of these other symptoms I also had. And this is the thing that has felt like I can start reconnecting with life. I have been in a rut for decades, doing the bare minimum to kind of slide on by and be content, I'm trying to do finger quotes, content with life, and not really pursuing anything actively, because I felt like it didn't matter. It wasn't like I was suicidal. I didn't want to end my life. I just didn't care about what was going on in it. This is the first week in years that I have felt like I care about my future. This is the first week in years, if not decades, that I want to do something important. That's not quite the right phrase. This is the first time in years, if not decades, that I felt like the world is important enough that I want to do something within it other than just exist. And surprise! It's gender related, I guess. Who knew? It's cause and effect is what it is. It's you investigate causes for how you feel that, and then the effects of them, and then you feel a different effect, and you're like, oh, well, because this happened, then this is true. So what being trans is, this is it. It's not a sex thing. It's not a privilege thing. It's just being your true self. My true self is not a drag queen. My true self is not in leather bondage walking down the street. Whatever. This is me. Right here. This is it. This is how I want to eventually, maybe not this exact face, because this is like an anime girl who looks 20, and I don't think I could ever quite, look like this regardless, because this is a cartoon. This is a cartoon version of a person. But in the sense that I present as my true self, this is what I want to be. And I realize, go say this again, I realize that this is also happening really fast, and there's novelty going on here. And I'm not going to actually, start taking hormones until I've let this sit for a little longer than a week. And I may turn part of this into an actual text blog post. But I just wanted to hear my own voice. I wanted you to hear in a voice that's closer to the one that feels authentic to me than my actual, in real life voice. And I want to hear my own voice also watch this back and be like, hey, that's a video I made. That's me. That was things that I said. I want to, and I won't do this in this video, but I want to in the next one, if I remember, to talk about some of these similar things, but actually talk about gender specifically related stuff, not just dissociation, but reasons that clues, I guess, that I've always been trans, and I just didn't realize it till now, because there are a lot. When I go back, I mentioned a couple of them are blog posts once, but there's a lot, and I wanted to document them with this voice because I want to listen back to it as me, and also have you guys hear them too, if you're interested. If you're not, that's fine. I also want to fix my hand tracker so I don't feel like I'm cracking my elbow, but in any case, thanks for watching this whole thing. I'm glad that we've been sitting with these birds chirping and these construction vehicles going off, even though I'm clearly in an office. A wizard's turn you trans. Is this awesome? Yes.